Okay, it's 5 o'clock. So let's begin the meeting. Today, Monday, June 13th, 5 p.m. In keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, as amended by Governor Baker on February 12, 2022, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use your Zoom, you will need to use the link on the agenda and download the Zoom application at www.zoom.us and create an account or use one of the call-in numbers listed on the agenda. You will need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found under participants from Zoom and make a request with the Q&A function. If you're joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make the request of the chair. And the email materials to the Board of Staff for sharing on the screen. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. There's a markup function in Zoom, which will allow you to call out specific areas of presentation materials. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses use of the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to follow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second so that it'll be clear to the audience and minute takers who made motions. All votes will be by roll call. When all businesses indicated on the agenda have been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. Applicants will join the webinar as an attendee and promoted to panelists at their agenda item. Applicants will then be able to share their screens and present their materials. As much as possible, presentation materials should be provided beforehand and loaded in permit eyes so that the materials can be included in the public record. Okay, so the first thing we have on our agenda there is, hang on one sec, gotta get to the second one. Okay, so an update on the novel coronavirus, COVID-19.
So just a couple of things. Cases do continue to be out there in the community. It does look like we are starting to drop off as far as the 2-week data that the state provides to us. We had been for the 2-week period ending May 14th of 200. And we're slowly coming down. The 2-week period that preceded June 4th, we were down to 95. So hopefully we're heading in the right direction. You know, the concerning things I mentioned before about those numbers is that those are the people that are actually getting tested in medical facilities. So they are not the people that are testing at home, which the majority of people, you know, that we hear anecdotally about are testing at home. State released, I think a press release was released yesterday or today regarding the fact, I think it might have been today, regarding the fact that the state is distributing more at-home test kits. And this time around, unlike the first time that they did it, they are giving them to every community that would like them. First, they were, the first time that this was done, they were only given to communities who were more severely impacted, lower socioeconomic populations. This time, it was pretty much, do you want them? And of course, we said yes. So we will be receiving an additional 9,000 or so home kit tests This will add to the kits that we had purchased. So if anybody in the community is having trouble getting testing or testing capacity, they encourage to just reach out to the office, 508-230-0620, or to Board of Health at easton.ma.us. And we will see what we can do about getting some test kits into your hands.
Thank you.
That's about all I have on COVID.
Okay. All right. And the next item is talk about arbovirus, tick-borne and mosquito-borne illnesses.
So at this time, I'm going to vote our intern, Ariana Butterbach, into the meeting as a panelist so that you can all get a look at her and say hello to her. I didn't actually, I think I kind of surprised her with this, but she did say that she would be happy to join us. There she is. So I know I've spoken to you guys about the fact that we had applied to the Department of Public Health for an intern. We are fortunate that their search ended up overlapping with our pre-existing relationship. Ariana is one of our local young professionals who has just recently graduated from the University of Connecticut, and she's going to be attending Brown, pursuing a public health degree in September. So she's with us for the summer. We have her working on a couple of projects, and one of them that we started out with is the arbovirus piece. I have long standing ambitions of being able to conduct a survey to find out what knowledge and what opinions residents might have about, we're starting out specifically talking about the ground spraying efforts. So Ariana has developed a 11-question survey that we hope in the next couple of weeks we'll be getting out into the community. If any of the board members or anyone watching the meeting has an idea of a population that we might not get with this, we do plan on having it at the children's races, at the town pool. We'll be creating the QR code for it, so it'll be up in town buildings. We'll be putting it out in the town crier. So if anybody has any other suggestions of where we might reach a population that we haven't thought of, we definitely would be open to hearing those suggestions. The other piece that she did is, again, just one of those things that is going to be extremely helpful and we never seem to have time for. She's created a number of graphics that we're going to be able to schedule onto Facebook that kind of remind people about what they can do in their own yards to deter mosquitoes from laying their eggs and hatching, and things that people can do to protect themselves. So I just wanted you guys to get to meet Ariana, and she is also going to be working on some other projects for us as we go into possibly a community needs assessment. And there's a couple of other surveys, one that are shared position with is interested in getting some information through survey on a maternal health program that we hope to roll out in the future, which is one of the areas that Ariana has expressed an interest in pursuing further as she goes for her master's degree. So what I have for arbovirus, I mean, there's the normal things, everything's up on our website. The state has released the 2022 arbovirus plan. It has not changed significantly. Actually, I think the narrative, though, is a little bit better than it has been in past years, and that is linked on our website as well. Kind of talks about why we do the spraying, what the thresholds are for the spraying, what the state is doing, and how they're gathering their data. There's some really good information in that if anybody's curious. There's also information up on the website for Bristol County Mosquito Control, how to request spraying, how to opt out of spraying. The Green Communities Committee has prepared some statements and is kind of letting people know more about the opt-out procedure and how that's tied to ground spraying. That doesn't apply to the aerial spraying, but it's also just a good place for there being a good partner in helping us get accurate information out to people who might be interested in alternatives. So that's all I have.
Well, welcome, Ariana. I think I remember you from the high school. um,
Just hello. Wanted to say hi. Thank you for having me here.
I'm glad you came. Thank you. Anybody have anything, Aria? No?
Welcome.
All right, so I guess we can get on to the next item, which is 272 Washington Street, a discussion of septic variance for design flow under 310 CMR 15.203. And then, let me see what else, 204, 249, and 260.
So while we're just introducing and talking about that, I'm going to promote engineer George Collins, who you all are very familiar with, to our panel. And I am trying to create the property owner. There. As a panelist as well. So now both of you have the ability to speak and be seen as we discuss this. So as a little bit of background, knows septic systems are sized depending on the use. Uses get bigger leaching fields, bigger tanks, bigger pieces to accommodate them. But they do have a finite design size to them. This talking about we don't have plans for. Historically, it had a 2-chair beauty parlor and the rest of the space is what we would consider retail. At some point, permits were pulled to, actually no, first the barber shop, there was a barber shop that went into where the beauty parlor was. And at some point, the barber shop moved to the opposite end. And what we're faced with now, which we would not have had a problem with because the pie is still the same, we just sort of said the rest needs to stay as retail, which is where we are today. In that the landlord has a tenant who would like to move into that other end space, but as a beauty parlor. Back, I want to say 2016 mark-ish, the DEP made a change in Title V, which took barber shops, which traditionally, and a traditional barber shop, admittedly, has an extremely low water use. They use a spray bottle, they cut guys' hairs, and they send them off. I think because we were seeing an uptick in some different types of barber shops where they were becoming more spa-like for men, and they were introducing bourbon tasting and facials and whatnot, DEP changed Title V's design criteria and made the barbershop piece of the pie the same as a beauty parlor piece of the pie. So it's 100 gallons per day, per chair. The septic system at this facility has been inspected. One of the things we were kind of hoping for in the inspection would be that the inspection would show us that it was actually oversized. It did not. It was appropriately sized for those uses when it was built. So we're in a situation right now where we have a traditional barbershop on one end, we a vacant space on the other end that there is a tenant who would like to go into to operate a beauty parlor. Beyond our ability as staff to allow the change to go forward that increases the flow over what Title V says the design flow should be. George, I'm sure, has the data, as does, I believe, our owner, that show that for the past couple of years when it's been retail and the barber shop, I think they've maxed out at around 50 gallons a day. This barber shop is not using excessive water. But the process would be for the Board of Health to be the ones to grant a variance to allow the change in use that exceeds the design for the septic system. And as in any other situation, if it fails, she's gonna have to replace it. But we do have a level of confidence from some of the work that we've already done that that barber shop is not that 100-gallon per day per chair design that Title V is calling out. And that's, I'm gonna end my piece and I'm gonna turn it over to George. Would you like to speak or?
Sure. For the record, George Collins from Collins Civil Engineering Group representing Maria Erdy, also attending the meeting. So, and then a little bit of an additional backdrop and to establish some sense of urgency here. Maria pulled the building permit or the new tenant pulled the building permit to do the modifications to the beauty salon, and a permit, correct me if I'm mistaken, a permit was issued, renovations were started, and then at some point it was brought to Maria's attention that there was an issue with the design flow associated with the use that's with the work that was going on. So essentially, she committed to a new tenant. The tenant took a loan, secured permits, secured contractors, and has started the work. So at this point, you know, you have people's livelihoods are at risk. Or so just again, I just want to establish a little bit of sense of urgency here.
George, let's stop right there because I believe the tenant was told before she signed the lease that this was going to be an issue, but
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
where
yeah,
we are right now.
At this point, you have people trying to live their lives, trying to make a living, trying to pay their rent and that type of a thing. So, and we've kind of ran into this conundrum. And one thing to point out is the water meter readings looking at that were given that I have show that the average water usage is 41 gallons a day, and that is for all three facilities. What it is a historical beauty salon and then 2 retail spots. So and then another thing to be aware of is, so this place has been a hair salon for 50 years. And then in 2017, they stopped using the beauty salon and this barber moved in. So the historical use of the facility is a beauty salon and then 2 retail spaces. So the barber moved in 2017. And then we have historical water usage data showing that the water usage for all 3 facilities is 41 gallons a day average, which is incredibly low. So let's say for discussion purposes, if you divide 41 by 3, and now I'm going to have to use my math, whatever that is, 17, 18 gallons a day per unit, if you just would divide the water usage between the units. So, which would suggest to me that the barber that's in there is using, that, say, 10 to 25 gallons a day, whatever that minuscule amount of water is. So the thing that I want the picture, a lot of these things are all based on, is it an increase in flow or is it not? So historically, you had the beauty salon and 2 retail spots. And what
beauty salon, a barber shop, and a retail slot. I don't think,
I mean, historically, historically as a beauty salon and 2 retail locations. Now, what we're not trying to convince the board, but what I am trying to convince the board is, based off of the water usage that we have solid records on, it's obvious that the 100-gallon a day design flow requirement is non-applicable, and to take the wording right out of the regulations, it's a unique design feature where, even though they try to categorize things in such a way so we can do designs, due to the unique operation of this particular barbershop. Again, they're not selling cigars, they're not selling having shots of whiskey. They're not getting pedicures and manicures. It's an old school barber shop using little or no water. So, so one thing I would like to have the board and staff to consider is specifically in the regulations, and I can actually, if you want me to, if I can share my screen and I can read it right out of the code, if that's okay.
Sure, George, I don't think there's any debate as to the system there being able to accommodate the uses. It's just staff can't approve it.
Yes, exactly. So, but one, am I sharing my screen? I don't even know. Can you see my screen?
No.
Let's see here. Where are we here? Where are we here? Right here. Share. Can everybody see that? Can you see that I have the regulations here? This is my
I cannot. Can anyone else?
Yes, I can.
I can see it.
so there's unfortunately so this line right here, a little bit of this cut off because of the screens, but basically it says if you have unique design features, which I think is clear that this is not a 100-gallon or even a 50-gallon a day facility, then there is a provision in the regulations that allows the design flow to be evaluated based off of water meter readings. And then the
George,
key.
we could do that if you find a new system, and you do have to go to Boston for that, not us.
I disagree.
At the-
All variances less than a 10,000 gallon a day falls under the purview of the.
Only DEP can assign a different flow value. And that's not due tonight anyway. We're just trying to get permission to let them open. But
Okay.
you can go if you want.
So anyways, again, it says, I'm sorry, I'm trying to, what am I doing here? I'm gonna minimize that. Here we go. So basically the thing that I'm advocating for at this point is that you can determine design flows by actual water meter readings of established flows from an existing or similar facility without the need for a variance pursuant to 310 CMR.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
If it's in black and white in Title V, you can't do that. And as Kristen said, we're just trying to get the board to say, yes, we'll allow you to do this today. And so I think this is unnecessary.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to explain to you is that I don't think a variance is required. We can use the water meter readings without.
And that's fine, George. If it says, you go back and you read it, unique design features that result in significantly different design flows than those listed may apply to the department, which is DEP. And if you further read on, it says the department will consult with the approving authority. So if you want to go through that whole process, it's going to take more time than just requesting a variance that allows the use above what we calculated as design flow.
Okay. All
We'll
right.
come back to this if a new system needs to be put in and we've got time.
Okay, understood. Okay. So basically, I was just attempting to advocate for some sort of an approval tonight without going through a variance process because of the time sensitivity. So
And you can if you want to go to the department, which is DEP.
okay, so
which is going to take more time.
okay, so basically our strategy here is to have a discussion, agree that what we're presenting is reasonable, and then come back in July under a variance with a butter notification for a similar discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
with a general sense from the board members that are present that they would act favorably on the variance. We as a staff feel comfortable releasing the building permit and allowing them to continue on tomorrow doing what they planned on doing.
Okay, excellent.
And then we'll follow up in July, get all the paperwork in order for the variance, That way they're working tomorrow. We can pursue other routes if
Okay.
you want,
All right,
but
perfect. That's fine. All right, great.
So it sounds to me, because of the low water usage of the barber shop, it's not putting any demands or strains on the system. And so it's not being considered like the beauty parlor that's going in on the other end. But so the amount of water usage, I'm trying to say this succinctly, but I'm like falling over my words. So basically the water usage isn't going to be excessive, correct?
it's not going to line up with what Title V would require. We at the staff level don't have the ability to say that. If we did, I think all three of us are very comfortable with the fact that this is a traditional barber shop. The flow is right on par, if not lower than the retail that it was originally. We'd rather not have to look at it, but Title V changed and now we do have to look at it. And we would be sitting here recommending, and we will be sitting here in July recommending that you grant the variance. It does seem like it's an undue hardship to take a business that uses a spray bottle and equate it to somebody who shampoos hair on 10 clients a day.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem unfair. It's just, we don't have the ability to say that. You guys do.
I understand. Okay.
But
Aria.
we can't make that motion for a variance this evening.
Isn't properly advertised. They actually have to notify abutters and give 10 days notice to anybody abutting it. As we've been going through this process, one of the things we were looking for was the Title V inspection, which actually gave us really good information on the condition of the system, which is that it's functioning fine. But we were also kind of holding on to a hope it would reveal a system that was much larger and wouldn't require any type of variance at all. But we got the information on the inspection report. We went back and calculated the capacity, and that was not true. I mean, best case, we had our fingers crossed. They were going to find a 1,200 square foot leach field that was big enough for, plenty of extra flow, and we wouldn't even have to have this discussion.
Okay.
Just add one thing. And again, I'm not trying to circumvent anything. I'm just trying to throw something out there. And again, based off of the, I believe it was the 06 regulation changes, it basically the regulations deputized the local board of health to handle all projects without DEP intervention, less than 10,000 gallons a day. So just food for thought. I'm just trying to avoid an unnecessary step. I mean, it's my opinion that if the abutters are not affected, that's typically under other normal circumstances. If you're too close to somebody's well or lot lines, if you have an affected abutter, then we would go through the process of notifying an abutter 10 days prior to the meeting, that type of a thing. So just food for thought. I believe because it's completely within the purview of the Board of Health for any systems less than 10,000 gallons a day. I don't want to say you can make up the rules as you go, but basically I think it's within the purview of the board to grant this. It is a public hearing. It was posted on an agenda. There is no abutter impact. So just food for thought.
Based on past practices.
This has been an incredibly nerve-wracking thing for Maria. And if it's at all possible to put this thing to rest this evening, that's just the one thing I'm advocating for. If you're not comfortable with that, I completely understand. I'm just trying to advocate for my customer.
I am not. Based on past practices and my reading of Title V, that's not an option. It's not when we like to do a butter notification and when we don't. It's pretty cut and dry. There's no expectation that you're right, the impact on anybody is negligible, other than if it were a higher use and the system failed and it was, people would have concerns.
And it's just
like I said, if we following this path,
okay.
If I hear from the board members that they would be inclined to grant this variance, we'll release the building permit tomorrow and just come back and dot all the i's and cross all the t's next month.
And just, and then historically, I've notified just immediate abutters, am I correct?
Yes.
Just the, yeah, anybody that's actually physically a bit, yeah, okay, so I think there's only like 2, so, okay.
So I,
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Hi, Maria Erdy. I'm the owner of the building. I just want to thank the board for, I know this has been sort of something we've been discussing for the past month. My tenant is, we're all kind of going through some financial hardship with this kind of being on hold. So I appreciate that. I believe what I'm hearing is that they are able to resume their construction tomorrow. And one thing I know that we've discussed that this does not have a sort of a bearing, but that salon space does have a 1,000-gallon tight tank attached to it. That does have the sinks run to it. We haven't mentioned that. I know that, Chris, I think you said in the past that it doesn't contribute to the take away from the larger septic system. But I just wanted to mention that for the board. And just, as I said, thank you. I'm here to do what I have to do to get these people to be able to just at least start doing their construction again.
Yeah, similar to what Maria just said. So although from a design standpoint, you have to consider it the 100 gallons a day per seat, but the fact of the matter is a lot of that water actually goes into the tight tank and is pumped off site. So it's, if anything, that sheds a positive light on the situation.
I mean, I'm comfortable sharing that, if George is confident that this is successful, I'm confident that I will be comfortable with a variance next month.
So I think this is fine to move forward with the, to get them started tomorrow, but I'm really not certain as how to make a motion. Are we talking about just a variance?
You don't have to make a motion tonight. We just needed a sense from at least 2 members that you would look favorably upon this when it's presented as a variance next month.
Well,
If we have that reassurance, we as staff will release the permit and allow the construction to continue. We have a plan, basically, and we'll get all the ducks in a row as we move forward.
So I would look favorably on this, Aria.
Yes, I would as well.
Absolutely.
Good enough.
Thank you.
George, if you need, if you want us to take a look at the letter, or you need anything from us before you send it out, let us know, and then we'll be back at this, and we should be good.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I'll send you a draft letter just to make sure I'm approaching it appropriately. And then I'll just make sure that we notify the abutters, and then we can basically recap what we've already discussed this evening. And again, thank you for your cooperation. And again, I wasn't trying to circumvent things. And I was just trying to see if there was another mechanism here that would allow us just to move on this evening. But you're being very cooperative, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, George.
Be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, and then just one other thing, just so you know, the letter that I requested was to be on this month's agenda and next month's agenda. So presumably I would not have to submit another request. I can, if you want, but it basically, it says to be request to be placed on the June and July Board of Health agendas. So, all right, well, thank you very much. Unless I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
All right, you too. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is 359 Bay Road, a discussion regarding 2 conflicting Title V inspection reports. Vote to accept the passing Title V inspection report, Title 5, 310 CMR 15.3023.
And we have Member Mills joining us now. Yes.
That's Chris. Hi, Chris. Okay, so we have situation 359 Bay Road. The homeowner had a Title V inspection done by John Figueredo of All Clear Septic, and he turned in and said it was failing due to the leaching field being overloaded. The homeowner went ahead and had a second opinion and hired Kevin Orlando from All Seasons Septic Service Incorporated, and he conducted a Title V inspection, and he found that it passed. In the packet that was sent to you is a copy of the failed Title V report and a copy of the passing Title V report. Both individuals were asked to attend tonight's meeting so that they could discuss their individual report, and then we just asked the board listen. And the second passing Title V was a lot of pictures as well, and they corrected the situation by putting in what are known as speed levelers in the distribution box. He noted that the distribution box had settled so that only flow is going to one or two pipes and not to all of them. So I
And
believe.
could you look at the attendee list and tell me if either one of the people in attendance should be promoted?
Bob, I believe, is the boss of John Figueroa, the failed Title V, and I don't recognize the top, the Gmail one.
Could the two attendees, are you able to type in the Q&A and identify as to whether or not you have
That you're present.
information to offer and need to be promoted to panelists for this topic?
Oh, someone's got a hand up.
Take that as that she does. So I'm going to promote her to panelist and let her introduce herself. And you were correct. Bob and John are present as, and I'm going to promote them to panelists. So now you can you're both joining the meeting. Both can turn your cameras on and unmute yourselves. I'll let Tim continue to direct the discussion, or the chair. Can I acknowledge one or the other?
Madam Chair, I'm here.
And
So-
what's your name, sir?
Kevin Orlando from All Seasons. I'm using my wife's iPad because I couldn't use my laptop. I apologize.
Okay.
A lot of button push.
Is John present?
Yes, here.
Okay, he comes up there. All right, John, why don't we start with you first?
Okay,
You're the one who failed it. And I did provide a picture that was sent to me this morning of the distribution box. And I don't know if that could be shared or not on the screen, but go ahead, John, explain what your findings were.
when I opened up the distribution box, what I found was that the level was approximately an inch high in the outlet pipes heading out to the field, and based on the age of the system, I saw that the SAS was overloaded.
Okay. So as I said, the homeowner sought a second opinion and hired Kevin Orlando to come out and do a second Title V inspection. So why don't you explain, Kevin, what you saw?
So when I did open up the distribution box, I did notice one line with the effluent not going out of it. I did notice that the distribution box was shifted just a small amount. I ran a garden hose in that line. If you're looking at the paperwork here where it says outlets line slight below corrected, the inlet line is where it's circled, and then the 4 outlet lines going out. I did run a garden hose into it. It did start taking the water. So what I did was I made an adjustment with speed levelers to make sure that there was equal distribution all around in the box. I also want to comment on the other pages here. We did dig out the trench, which is not usually what you do in a Title V inspection, but I'm trying to give the homeowner the best opinion I can. When we did dig out the leaching field of the trench part of it, we did find the stone clean and dry. So there was no staining or overload of what was mentioned.
Okay. So as Kevin mentioned, doing that extra step and digging in the field, he did find that the stone in the leaching field was dry. There was no staining, obviously no effluent in it. And he's saying by adding the speed levelers and having equal distribution to go out to the leaching field, he feels that the system passes. This situation does come up in time. We as staff can't, grant one or to accept one and not accept the other. So that's why it comes in front of the board. And we invited both the inspectors here to explain themselves. Based upon what the pictures that were supplied and shown to me, and the fact that he dug into the trench, I feel that it would pass as well. As you all know, a Title V inspection is a snapshot in time. It can pass today and fail tomorrow. But the water flow is pretty consistent. I think it was
190 gallons a day, I believe.
Yes. And the design is for 440 gallons a day.
Yes.
4-bedroom home.
I have a question for the first inspector. When he said that the pipe, were all the pipes
Yes.
liquid level an inch standing in all the pipes or just the one?
No.
Yes, and we provided a picture that John took during the inspection.
Kristen, I forward you that email with the picture. I don't know if you can share that.
Hi.
I know that, I've done many Title V inspections, but I have seen distribution boxes actually sink a little, and you'll get quarter, half inch to an inch of water in the pipe. And then that's when I would myself drop a hose in the distribution box, let it run for a half hour, see if it takes it, or if the box fills up with water. That's just a little food for thought for the board.
So when we know it's a snippet in time, is there ever, I feel like with the extra steps taken with the hose and whatnot, that maybe it put to bed some of the concerns, but is there ever a second time you go out and check it? Is that something that's ever done?
Are you asking me the question? I'm sorry.
I'm asking everybody the question.
Oh, well, this is the second opinion here. This is the second time we've.
Right.
Our second time, the first time was his inspection. Again, not saying that he didn't do it right, but again, everybody's eyes are different, in that part, in the respects for the system and the inspection. So we do probably 3 to 5 a day, which is a significant amount. We do a lot of consulting and second opinions on a lot of system inspections, and some of them do completely fail, or some just, like in this situation here. So not, again, he did what he had to do, his due diligence, and we did ours.
Right.
So.
Mark, you said you had a lot of experience with this. I'm interested in what your thoughts are.
I've opened up distribution boxes and had a little carryover in the box and seen, the invert of the pipe being the bottom of the pipe where the water touches it. It's not always exactly there. If it's failed, it's usually half a pipe up,
Yes.
and if it's working like an inch, it's nothing, you know what I mean? Because someone may have run over the distribution box. It may have settled a little bit. Now the pipes aren't going level out. They're like this a little bit, so they show a little water in it. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Pointing up.
I am not able to share that picture, Tim, without sharing all of my emails.
Oh,
we don't
okay.
do those.
All right, I apologize.
So was the Title V requested as for the house going on the market? Is that
Yeah.
why it was requested initially?
Yes.
So there's a possibility that if we allow the passing Title V to go through, that the new homeowner would then have a failed septic? Potentially?
Aria, it's a snapshot in time. That's
Okay.
It's like taking a Polaroid picture. It could
Okay.
pass today and fail in 6 months, and that's buyer beware.
Okay.
And the house is
we-
for sale.
The house is for sale? Okay.
Yes.
This is a new one on me, I'm not gonna lie. I am just not sure how comfortable I am. I really feel like I have to defer to my health agents. I know we have to do the vote, me and you area, but this is new on me and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable.
Can I chime in? This is Bob Silva.
Sure, Bob.
Yes.
So, at a glance, and this is a snapshot in time, right? So, at a snapshot in time, we did see that, there was liquid in the pipe, which is a failure criteria. However, Kevin Orlando did go to the next step to look in the field. And that really is over and above what a normal Title V would be, but he did do that. And if there was no ponding, below the pipes, then it is clear and should be clear to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the system is not in failure.
Great, fantastic. And I will make a motion to vote to accept the passing Title V inspection for 359 Bay Road.
I second. All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, Bob.
Okay,
I almost just deleted Lynn.
me?
When I delayed,
That's
when I
okay.
moved Bob out of the room, you moved.
Okay, so I am just trying to get back because I have so many tabs open now. I can't find anything. So we have a betterment application now?
We do. It's 61 Central Street. Systems in failure. In fact, we've already conducted the perk tests and design plans, and the permit has been approved. So now just the homeowner is just looking for the loan. He is just looking for the $45,000 place card holder. He's in good standing with the town, and he's ready to move forward with this project.
I make a motion to accept the betterment application for 61 Central Street.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. Okay, and then moving on, we have to accept the minutes from May 9th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the Board of Health meeting from May 9th.
I second. All those in favor?
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. Any other staff notes or member notes?
No.
That's it? Okay, if there's nothing else, nobody has any questions in the Q&A box? No?
Just Bob and John identifying themselves.
Okay, then I make a motion to adjourn the meeting on Monday, June 13th in 5:48 p.m. Thanks so much, guys.
All right.
Needs
Thank you.
to second it, and you need
Seconded.
to vote. Slow down.
Zayas, yes.
LeBlanc, yes. You had to get that
So
in.
have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good night, everyone.
Bye now.